Hello, my friends. Hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor, where Roger and I have returned for a random BookTube video with, some BookTube stuff in it. I've got a box that showed up here, and we're going to unbox it because that's the most exciting thing ever on BookTube. That's awesome. Also, I got another book in the mail, which is pretty much the publishing event of the year, if not the decade. Let's say it's the publishing event of the decade. I got a book that I must have pre-ordered this thing 2 years ago. I pre-ordered this forever ago. And I didn't think it would ever actually be published, but it was published. So I got that. And some random things, which it can't take too long because we only have like 15 or 20 minutes or something. And then we've got to get out of here. No time for editing or a fancy thumbnail today. No, just quick, random stuff. Okay. First, before I get to that other stuff I talked about, so I was thinking about Garbogist, the greatest reading event of all time created by CriminOlly. You have to think ahead for these things. So I was looking for a specific book that is somewhere in this house. Somewhere I have this book. This book is a book I have somewhere. And it is the novelization. I told you this is for Garbogist. It's the novelization for Battlestar Galactica, which I haven't read since I was a child and Battlestar Galactica was actually on television. Anyway, I've got the novelization of Battlestar Galactica somewhere. And I thought, I was just thinking, as I sometimes do occasionally, and I was thinking that would be a cool thing to read for Garbogist this year. I should find that. I can't find it. Roger and I have been looking everywhere and I can't find it. Obviously, this is a situation, where we have to deal with the return of the Phantom of the Library. I don't know if you're familiar with the Phantom of the Library. The Phantom of the Library is a terrifying supernatural being who takes books that you have and hides them in unusual places you'd never actually put these books on your own. It's the work of the Phantom. So the Phantom has obviously been stalking the halls of Stately Vaughan Manor again, has stolen my copy of Battlestar Galactica and put it in some unusual place where I won't find it until like August is over, probably. I'm going to keep looking because I know I have that book somewhere around here. I will keep you informed on this very important quest. But yeah, the Phantom of the Library made off with Battlestar Galactica, the bastard. Anyway, so I've been looking, when I've had time all around. And I thought, well, it's not here. It's not in the closet. It's not in that big pile of books in the corner that you can't see. It's probably in one of the boxes of vintage science fiction that I've got. But that's a tough thing because I have a lot of boxes. So I've looked through this whole big section, and then I looked in the vault of ancient science fiction down below the manor, and I can't find it. But I did find a couple other things that would be good for Garbogist, but they also lead to another problem. Anyway, I found a couple of books that I had forgotten all about, but one is this book. This is V. Does anybody remember this science fiction television miniseries that came out in the 80s about aliens who are they're like Nazis from space that are lizard people, but they have disguised themselves as human beings? Anyway, I remember this being popular in the 80s, and I did watch it, and I did like it. And I got the novelization by A.C. Crispin, who I think wrote Star Trek books, right? Am I right or am I wrong? Did A.C. Crispin write Star Trek books? Maybe I'm delusional, but I think so. And yeah, this is the terrifying novel based on the full 10-hour NBC miniseries. It lasted 10 hours, this miniseries. It must have been a big one. Anyway, I haven't seen this miniseries since I was probably a teenager. I can't remember. It must have been, I must have seen it when it came out, and I'm not sure I've seen it since. But I do remember liking it. Anyway, I've got this cheesy V book. And I don't just have this, I also have another book in the V series, East Coast Crisis. It's East Coast Crisis. So I have two of the V books. And I thought, well, that's pretty good for Garbogust. I'll probably read this one for Garbogust. And I'll probably read it without rewatching the miniseries. I'll just read the book. But this leads to another quandary. Because I know that there was like a whole... Because this was a miniseries and also became a very short television series too, I think. I think there was a TV show that came on after the miniseries, but it didn't last long. And I remember there was a comic book that came out that didn't last long. But there was also a series of paperback books. And I'm pretty sure I have all of those paperback books. I think I picked them all up as they were coming out. But I've only found these two. But I know I have them somewhere. Somewhere I have them. So I'm going to have to look for those now too. So now I'm looking for Battlestar Galactica and a bunch of V books. Why am I looking for these? I don't know. Now suddenly, for no reason at all, suddenly it seems important that I find these books that I forgot about for 30 years. I don't know. I know I have them. And it's the most infuriating thing when you know you've got something, but you don't know where it is. Anyway, that was that. But I mentioned some other things. Okay. The publishing event of 2024 and possibly the decade. So there's this book that I've been talking about there's this book that I've been talking about since I started basically making videos, and how this book needs to exist. And then it was announced that it was coming out, I think 2 years ago, and I ordered it right away. And then just waited and waited and waited, and this was delayed. And the reason I didn't know that it would ever come out is because it's from DC Comics, and it's a reprint of the Silver Age Superman. It's finally here, the Silver Age Superman. And you know how bad DC Comics reprint program is if you've watched my channel at all. So it's remarkable that this actually came out. Superman, the Silver Age Omnibus Volume 1. This is amazing that this thing even exists. So, of course I love Superman, and the Silver Age Superman is probably my favorite era of Superman. And this actually is from my favorite issue of Superman, when Superman meets Brainiac for the first time. And this is actually pretty glorious. It has all of these issues reprinted in it. Obviously, the most important book ever published, right? It has to be the Silver Age Superman. And up to this point, I only had the Silver Age stories from Superman in a line of cheap black and white books called, it was DC Comics Presents or something like that. Showcase Presents. The Showcase Presents line of books. And so I had all of these stories in black and white, but this is a nice, big, fancy volume. Look at that. Very nice. High quality paper. And it starts off, the Silver Age apparently started off with Action Comics 241. The super key to Fort Superman, which is exactly where the Showcase Presents volumes started. So I'm assuming that DC Comics, at least, considers this to be the first Superman, the first official Superman from the Silver Age. It's a little tricky deciding when the Silver Age actually started, but this seems to be it. And this is a great story, by the way. The super key to Fort Superman. It's one of the best Superman stories, in my opinion. And yeah, it's full of great stuff. You've got Titano, more fantastic than King Kong. Titano, you know, important comic book there. The Ghost of Lois Lane. There's the Ghost of Lois Lane. You didn't even know Lois Lane was dead. I guess so. All kinds of good stuff in this one. Yeah. The town that hated Superman. It's the town that hated Superman. I don't know how you could hate Superman, but this whole town did, apparently. So this is awesome. And I literally cannot believe this actually arrived, because like I said, I've been waiting for this forever, and now it's really actually here. The Silver Age Superman. That's amazing. Okay. Now, I got a package in the mail. It's in a repurposed Amazon box. And this is from Philip. Thank you, Philip, for sending me this package. So Philip got a hold of me. I know one of the things that's in this box. And he got a hold of me and said, hey, I've got 2 copies of this book. Do you want one of these copies? And I said, sure, I'll take that. And he has some other stuff that he said he wanted to unload. He says he just wants to unload this stuff for whatever reason. So I'm not exactly sure what's in here except for one thing. The one thing that I know in here that is in here is awesome. I don't know. He said he had 2 copies. I said, okay. I don't ask for anything, but sometimes people will get a hold of me and say, hey, you want this? And I usually say, oh, okay. I can't buy any books now because I'm on the 500 book challenge, but you know what? If you just want to send me stuff for free, depending on what it is. So let's open up this box and see what's in here. See if it's what I think it is. Okay, we've got packing material, and there's a tie in here. It's a tie. It's a Bugs Bunny tie. That's pretty cool. I'll wear a Bugs Bunny tie. Thank you. I was not expecting a tie, but it's a Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny tie. That's pretty cool. Unexpected, but that's awesome. I will wear that. Of course, oh my goodness. This is not something I expected. This is Savage Pellucidar from Edgar Rice Burroughs. And this is a collectible edition, it looks like. It's got this little bookmark here. Savage Pellucidar, Edgar Rice Burroughs. The Edgar Rice Burroughs limited edition collection. Wow. It's got a little coin there. This looks like it would be a valuable object. This is really, really cool. Of course, I am a huge Edgar Rice Burroughs fan. And this is not what I expected. This is not the thing that I thought was in here. Look at that. That's really cool. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Thank you for... You had 2 of these? How do you end up with 2 of these? This is amazing. Okay. I will take that and put it on my bookshelf because this is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, here's the thing that I knew was coming. Let me unwrap this. It is very well packed too. I appreciate that. Okay, wow, look at this. Okay, so this is Tarzan, The Lost Adventure. Edgar Rice Burroughs had left part of a Tarzan novel unfinished, and it just kind of lay around in the vault for years. And then finally, it was finished by Joe R. Lansdale, the author who is popularly known for his Hap and Leonard novels. I like Joe R. Lansdale a lot, and I was pretty happy when this came out. This originally was published by Dark Horse Comics, of all people, in 4 separate pulp-sized volumes, and I have those. And I also have the first paperback edition, which has a terrible cover. You can see that this cover is absolutely amazing. Who does this cover? I'm going to see if it says, because that cover is incredible. Wow, this is a really nice book. Let's see. Dust Jacket was by Dean Williams, and it's got illustrations in here by all kinds of people. Studley O. Burroughs, Gary Gianni, Michael Kaluta, Monty Sheldon, Charles Vess, and Thomas Yeats. So it has some great illustrations in this volume. Very, very nice copy of this book. Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't get this hardcover when it came out. I never saw it at the time. This came out in the 90s. And that is a beautiful cover. I mean, just absolutely stunning Tarzan cover for this book. The paperback, the mass market paperback cover is pretty terrible. It's just a terrible cover. And so I'm thrilled to have this. Thank you for sending this to me. This was a pleasant surprise that you had two of these and just wanted to send me one. So, okay, this is cool. So, and I remember this being pretty good. The thing was with this book is that Joe R. Lansdale's style does not mesh with Edgar Rice Burroughs' style. You could really tell the part that was written by Joe R. Lansdale. It felt quite different, but it was good. It was good, and it's been since the 90s, I think, since I've read this. So as soon as I'm done reading all the other Tarzan books, I'm reading every book by Edgar Rice Burroughs right now in publication order. Eventually, I'll get to this one, and I'll have this really nice copy to read. So this will replace, as far as a reading copy, my mass market, which I'm not overly fond of. But this is amazing, so thank you. And I knew this was coming, so I very much appreciate that. I will wear it. I'll wear my Bugs Bunny tie and read Tarzan, The Lost Adventure. Oh, there's some other stuff in here. And there's a note. He left a note. I'm not exactly death cleaning, but I figured I should give these to someone before they rot away. Regift if duplicates. No, they're not duplicates. And I will not let them rot away. Trust me. Oh my goodness, look at this. Well, this was unexpected too. Okay. It looks like we've got some issues of Amra. Now, this is a sword and sorcery fanzine. A fanzine was an independently published magazine back in the olden days before the internet existed and there were no websites. So this is Amra 11 from 1961, I think. Is that what this is? Is that why there's a 61 there? Look at that. So these are, of course, heavily inspired by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Robert E. Howard. Heavily inspired by Robert E. Howard. That's what I meant to say. It's early in the morning when I'm doing this, but this is really cool. I've never actually seen an issue of Amra, and now I've got a little stack of them. Yeah, that's really cool. These little fanzines were published with all of these sword and sorcery stories and stories about Conan and Robert E. Howard and stuff. Amra was actually an alias for Conan in Robert E. Howard's Conan stories. So that is really cool. So I've got Amra 1161. Is that 11 or is that just Amra 2? Maybe it's Amra Volume 2. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? Maybe that's issue 61. And this is, because this is Amra 262. So maybe that was issue 61. I don't know when these came out. They must have come out in the 70s. That would make more sense. So they must have come out in the 70s. So Amra 2, and this has a crinkle cover. I think that's a crinkle cover there. And wow. Tarzan, Kull, and Conan by William Fulwiler. Well, all characters I love. So this is really cool. So yeah, these must be the issue numbers, because here's issue number 63, and it's volume 2, issue 63. Look at these. That is really awesome. A bunch of Amra. Yeah, and I remember reading about these, and I've never seen them. So now I actually have a chance to read these. That's awesome. A bunch of them. Amra, the sword play and sorcery magazine. It's sword play and sorcery. That's really cool. Krenkel did a lot of work for these, or there are a lot of Krenkel covers. Yeah, more Krenkel right there. Roy Krenkel, great artist, and he's all over these. That's amazing. Look at that. That's so cool. Oh, and this is from the 80s, actually, because this is when Conan the Barbarian, the film, came out, where there's Arnold hanging on the tree. So that's incredible. That's just amazing. Thank you so much for sending me that box of really awesome stuff, Philip. That's really great. And that's all the time I've got. I've got to get to work, but I've got a lot of cool stuff here. Thanks, man. And some packing material and a Bugs Bunny tie. Okay, guys, I will catch you next time.